Good morning all and welcome to the 2026 orchid season. You're having a laugh. You are having a laugh. It is the 31st of March today. March. It still feels like winter. Why am I here? I'm at Mary's Meadows, by the way, in Rutland. Often call it Lincolnshire, but it is Rutland. Been a few pictures on social media recently. Obviously the south coast early spider orchids are out, as you would expect, but some people have been putting up green winged orchid pictures, just a single flower on a single plant, and that is further down south. Well, Mary's Meadows has green winged orchids, so I thought, well, it may only be a 1% chance, but I'll take it. Let's come and have a look, see if I can find a single flower on a green winged orchid in March. It would be crazy. My record around these parts for the first orchid flower is the 8th of April, and that was last year. That's still a week away. So this would be gobsmacking to find an orchid flower in March. I think the chances are about less than 5%, but we're going to give it a go. And it's a good excuse to come out and get the season started. What else have I got? In my pocket I have, that's a soil pH meter. I've always wanted to know what's going on here at Mary's Meadows, because you've got green winged orchids at one end of the site, and you've got heath spotted orchids at the other end, and heath spotted orchids, generally speaking, prefer a more acidic soil. And I'm thinking, you know, is the soil different at the top to the bottom? So I'm going to measure it, or try to measure it, if this thing works, and see if I can put to bed some of the theories that I have, or make more sense of them. So I'm going to try that out as well. I've got a few things to cover that's been in my sort of mailbox over the winter period about the way the site runs. I need to explain one or two things just for my own peace of mind. And last but not least, I want to talk about how this channel is going to work during 2026, because it's going to be different. It's going to be completely different, and I think some people might boo and hiss, others might cheer. Probably the majority won't care one way or the other, but I want to explain to you how this channel is going to work during the 2026 season. But first things first, let's see if we can find an orchid. No chance. That's not an orchid, but it's a flower. At the moment I can't find any evidence of a green winged orchid anywhere in the field. I think that's a cowslip, could be an oxslip, but I think it's a cowslip. Always good bedfellows with orchids. Always a good time of year to see the old ridge and furrow fieldscape that you get here, that dates this field as pretty much untouched for hundreds of years, which is why the orchids like it here. But they obviously don't like getting out of bed too early in the year, because I can't find anything at the moment. That's definitely a green winged orchid rosette, and there's no sign of a stalk or anything yet, so we're a long way off, as is to be expected. Right, I've been up and down these ridges and furrows. There is very little to see in terms of green winged orchids, just a few small rosettes to show they're here. I haven't seen anything by way of a flowering stalk, a non-flowering stalk, a single flower or anything. I suppose in truth I thought there was a 5% chance, just going on what I've seen on the internet. Less than 100 miles south of here they've had the odd one that's already starting to flower. We are not close here. I don't know if you went to Meadows it might be different, but here at Mary's Meadows nothing to be seen as far as the green winged orchids are concerned, and that's probably deep down what I expected. Still good to get out and have a look. Any excuse will do. Right, let's have a go at this pH reading of the soil, if I can make this work. Got to give it a minute or so. That's quite an interesting and unexpected reading. It's the scale at the very bottom that I'm looking at, where it says alkaline on the left and acidic on the right. If you take the 7 on the left hand side as being the midpoint, 7 is neutral pH, it's neither acidic nor alkaline. If it starts dipping down below 6.5, and this one appears to be down to about, I don't know, 5.7, you are drifting into acidic, which according to this meter, the soil up here is certainly on the acidic side of neutral, and I wasn't expecting that, but that's interesting. I don't know if you can see in the distance there on the horizon the sort of scar on the landscape. That is a limestone quarry. And we are in limestone country. There's a lot of limestone quarries in this neck of the woods, so I kind of wasn't expecting the soil to be on the acidic side of neutral. I can't really explain that, but that pH reading certainly suggested we are more acidic than we are alkaline. I might take another reading in a minute just to double check. I've just dropped down to the bottom end of the same field, which is where the green winged orchids tend to grow more than they do at the top end. And again, the reading is down around 6, which is definitely on the acidic side of neutral. Maybe slightly less acidic than it was at the top end of the field, where you don't get as many green winged orchids, so maybe as we're moving back towards neutrality it's a bit more appealing to them. Right, heading down into the lower field now to where the heath spotted orchids grow, and they only grow at the very bottom of this field, which is why I'm kind of interested in checking out the pH. The big oak tree, I think it's an oak tree, in the far distance right in the middle of the screen. If ever you've come down for the first time, the heath spotteds grow behind that, and to the right of that you won't find nothing before you reach that tree. They are really rammed down at the bottom of the field between that tree and the hedge line. I was reading up the other day, as one does in the dark days before the season starts, about orchid soil preferences. I'm not going to get too heavy here, rest assured, but I've always sort of believed heath spotted orchids like acid soil, common spotted orchids like alkaline soil, and it's sort of a very black and white view as to whether it's one or the other. But the reality is with a lot of orchids is they like a neutral soil, or slightly acidic or slightly alkaline. So if you've got neutral soil, you can get a mixed bag, and I've seen sites, including this one, where common spotted orchids and heath spotted orchids grow side by side, and you even get hybrids, and people say that can't be possible. But I suspect it's because the soil's going to be neutral. I mean, we'll find out in a minute, but I think that's what causes it. Why heath spotteds only seem to grow at the bottom of this field. I think that's probably not to do with the pH, but because we're dropping down lower and lower as we reach the end of this field, and it's probably the dampest part of Mary's Meadows, and it's the dampness of the soil that is probably attracting them more than the pH. But we'll find out in a minute. It'll probably shock me and give me a reading that makes no sense at all, but I suspect it'll be neutral to acid, but not very acid. And we will see. That's unusual. This is the blimey, there's ducks on it as well. This used to be a pond that always had water in the past, but in recent years there's been no water in it. So whether that means we've had a genuinely wet spring, which we have, probably more so in the west than in the east, but there's water in it. The pond has returned. Significance of this, of course, is this is where the frog orchid grows, and I'm not going to be looking for that for some time yet, but the frog orchid's in this area right in front of the camera here, just past the pond basically. Again, if you come down for the first time and you're very lucky, you might find it. And this is the tree, the oak tree. It is an oak tree, I'm sure. As soon as you pass this oak tree and head for the hedge behind it, you're in heath spotted orchid territory. And common spotted orchid, but mainly heath spotted. I'm going to take a reading right down the bottom here, because there's usually a 50-50 split here between common spotted and heath spotted. As we move further up to where the heath spotted dominate, there aren't that many common spotted, so there might be a slightly different reading down here to what there is further up. And we'll take a look. Well, it's actually below 6. It's back down to about 5.8, something like that. So very similar to the top field, no different. So I'm going to move up to where the heath spotted orchids traditionally dominate in good numbers. Okay, we're up in the middle of the hot spot for the heath spotted orchids, and we're bang on 6, perhaps slightly over 6. So it's a little bit more neutral up here than it was down the bottom. I don't think that really means a whole lot, but we're in the sort of range for heath spotted orchids really, which is slightly acidic side of neutral. It's about right. Again, why they grow here and not elsewhere in Mary's Meadows, I think it's more to do with the dampness of the soil rather than anything to do with the pH. But for me it's been an interesting exercise, because I've always wondered what the soil pH was, and now I know it's kind of acidic side of neutral. There you go, something to put a smile on my face. That's a rosette of a heath spotted orchid. Lots of very small, as opposed to very bold spots. That's a heath spotted orchid rosette cracking on. Got a good 6-7 weeks to go before that throws any flowers up, but we'll be here when it does. I can promise you that. There's another nice heath spotted orchid rosette on its way. I was trying to find a common spotted rosette. At least I can walk away from this and say I've seen a rosette of the 3 main species here. That one's definitely a heath spotted. Right, no common spotted rosettes that I could find, but then I just thought they do bloom after heath spotted. Heath spotted come first, so that's probably why there's no rosettes to be seen yet that I could find. Before wrapping up, I want to cover a couple of topics that really were the main reason for coming down here, or the latter one is anyway. The first one is something that keeps appearing in my mailbox and in some of the comments after the videos that sort of imply the adverts on the videos are a pain in the butt. Can you get rid of them? I know you make money out of them, but can you just not get rid of them? I need to put that one straight. This channel doesn't make any money. This channel is not monetized. It was never set up to make money. Don't get me wrong. If I can get it to a point where it makes a little bit of money, and believe me, it would be a tiny amount of money, but it's a contribution towards costs and whatever for getting out and around to see orchids, then I'd take it quite happily. But the channel does not make money. To make money on YouTube, you've got to have certain criteria in place, and we're not there yet. We're still growing. We're a young channel. So whether we'll ever get to that point, I don't know. But I can categorically tell you now, I do not make money out of these videos at all. I also don't put the adverts on. Yes, they're a pain. I don't like watching commercial TV because of the adverts that pop up. YouTube puts the adverts on there and I can't do anything about it. I can't stop it. All I can do is make the adverts as friendly as I can, in terms of they will have in the bottom right hand corner the word skip, and you've got like 20 seconds or whatever, and you'll see it count down. When it gets to 0 and it goes white, click on it and then you come out of the advert and you're back in the video. If you don't know that already, I'm sure you do. But yeah, 2 key points: I don't make money out of these videos. I'd like to, but I don't. And secondly, I don't put the adverts on there and I can't do anything about them. So blame YouTube, don't blame me, honest. And the other thing I wanted to cover today, is really the main reason for coming out, is that this channel's going to be different this year. You might have noticed the subtle change in logo and name. We've changed from Orchid Hunter to the Orchid Hunter channel. This season there will be 1 video a week, and it will be on a Friday, and it will be at 6 o'clock in the evening, like this one is. This is the first one. All future ones will appear at Friday 6 p.m. every week starting today, and I will be out next week trying to get something on board, but that's the plan. Why am I doing it? It helps me because during the manic 2 months or so of the orchid season, June, July, I'm out and about grabbing everything I can grab. I've then got to edit the videos, which are all shot in 4K. It takes time, quite a lot of time, and to get it all done in that same concentrate period is very difficult. So that's one reason, but there's a bigger reason. The bigger reason is that I'm one of the administrators of the biggest orchid social media sites, as you may know, and I watch it die. You know, come mid-July, August time, it goes from incredible enthusiasm. That enthusiasm is already winding up now. We've got a lot of new people coming in already, but you see that fantastic enthusiasm just go off a cliff at the end of the season. You sense the depression that it's over for another 9 months, 10 months, and it is depressing if, like me, you're an orchid lover, and suddenly it's just gone. The helleborines are finished, you've got the autumn ladies tresses, but really it's over. So I want to try and do something about it, and that something is by doing 1 video a week. Even though I'm going to be out shooting a lot, it means when you get to July, August and it's finishing, these videos are going to carry on, and there's still going to be a new one every Friday at 6 o'clock, and there's going to be a new one for as long as I can keep it going. Whether that goes through autumn into winter, whether it goes through winter into next spring, whether I can do, and it will be tough in the first year of doing this to pull this off, but can I actually get right round to the start of the following season? So there's been a new video every week for 52 weeks a year. I guess that's the dream. I've got to try it out. I don't know all the pitfalls that may come. I think it's workable. I like the idea of keeping it alive when the season is actually over. So that's what I'm planning to do. I've got to dot some I's and cross some T's, but that's what I'm going to do. It starts with this one, and every week there'll be a new one going all the way through as far as it extends. So If you hate that idea, let me know. Put some thoughts into the comments underneath the video. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. If, like most, you just say, so what? That's fine. But that's what I'm trying. I like trying something different. If I could do a small thing to extend the orchid season and the fun and the enjoyment of the orchid season beyond the sort of 2 months that we normally have, then it will be worth doing. So that's what I wanted to tell you. The Orchid Hunter channel is going to turn into a weekly thing that hopefully goes on most of the year. So that's it. That's what I wanted to tell you. So yeah, this is episode 1. Next week I will be trying to beat our record for the earliest flower on an early purple orchid. Almost certainly at Barnack again. It was 8th of April last year. We're going for 7th of April at the latest. This year we're going to beat that record. So I will see you next week. One thing, I've already started forgetting things that I meant to say. One more thing before we finish. I have quite a sort of catalogue of sites I can go to each year, and most of those I'll be covering again, if not all of them, this year. I've also got some trips away. I haven't quite finished planning them yet, but I'm going to be bouncing up to and down to 1 or 2 good sites away from Peterborough. But I'm always indebted to people who can contact me and say, look, there's a woodland area near me, it's absolutely rammed with early purple orchids. So we've got this fantastic field near us, green winged orchids coming out my ears. If you think it's somewhere that maybe I've not heard of, that is really worth seeing, I don't want to sort of travel huge distances to see half a dozen early purple orchids, but if you've got a special site there that you think, wow, you know, this deserves to be seen, please, please, please drop me a line, you know, get in touch and let me know, because if I can get out there, I will. If it sounds like it's worthwhile, then I will. I saw some great sites last year in places I've never been before, and I only found them because people contacted me and said, you might want to check this place out, it's really, really good. You know, I'm rare orchids, great, I'll chase rare orchids. If you've got something really special, I might travel out there to see it, but chuck me in a field full of common spotteds or early marsh or southern marsh or green winged or early purple, you know, chuck me in a field with loads of orchids, no matter how common they might be. I'm a happy man, that's my happy place. So please, yeah, if you've got anywhere you think is worth me visiting, do drop me a line one way or another and I'll see what I can do. That's it. See you next week.